CPI ticked up, but where's the tariff apocalypse everyone warned us about? Inflation rose slightly, but it's softer than we feared. Core numbers are stable and energy prices are helping out. The Fed's likely holding steady, so where's the Armageddon? Nowhere, at least not yet. Watch the full video, because sometimes the real story is what didn't happen.
Gary, first thing, let's get right into it. We're talking about the CPI. It did rise. The tariff Armageddon has yet to arrive, as we mentioned, and the tariffs didn't create a disaster issue. Thing number one, CPI rises, but less than fiat economists warned, excuse me.
Yeah, so Rob, you remember how for the last couple of months, everybody's been telling us, oh no, tariffs are going to create a horrible inflationary problem. It's going to be a disaster, Armageddon, horrible, horrible. You remember all that?
Yes, I do. I remember all of that.
Okay, so here we go. The May Consumer Price Index report, the CPI, that is the report that people typically refer to when they talk about inflation, that showed an overall increase of 2.4%. That was up 0.1% for the month. The annual number is up 0.1% from April, in line with expectations. The monthly down 0.1%, below expectations. Core CPI, which excludes food and energy, was up 2.8 versus last year and up 0.1% for the month. Guess what, Rob? That is consistent with the prior month of 2.8%. For everyone listening to this, if I just threw too many numbers at you and you're confused, I'm going to make it really, really simple. The inflation report looks almost exactly the same this month as it did last year. There was no Armageddon. There was no horrible outcome here. So I just threw all those numbers at you quickly because it doesn't matter. The numbers are almost exactly what they were a month ago. For a little detail on this, energy has been a tailwind. It looks like that's going to reverse. Shelter, the fancy word for housing, has been a headwind. That also may reverse. So one of those is up and probably is going to be down. The other one has been down, probably going to be up. And here we are, again, more of the same.
Yep, no doubt more of the same, Gary. And then, we have been hearing about this tariff-related disaster, right? I mean, where is it, right? Or how far off were people? Seems like the stock market has been resilient. Obviously, we had a lot of stuff happening last week with Israel and Iran, right? But where is this disaster that everyone has been talking about?
Well, so the situation with Israel and Iran has gotten people concerned, particularly about energy prices, and there are worries that Iran does have the capacity to close the Straits of Hormuz. If that happens, you're going to look at much higher oil prices. But over the weekend, or last week, or over the weekend, oil prices did rise. Brent crude was up. So that's when I say that energy prices have been a tailwind on the CPI, and that's likely to reverse. That's what we're referring to. And look, as much as I like to make fun of the fiat economists and all of the tariff hysteria, the truth is these prices can take time to move through a complicated supply chain. But the fact is they kept saying it's going to be a disaster, and I'm waiting for somebody to say, okay, yeah, we got it wrong. Now, it could happen in the future, but as of now, there is just no evidence of these massive price increases that many people feared. And so we'll be watching it, but I'm waiting for somebody to say, yeah, we got it wrong, and then go figure out why.
Right, yeah. And then, Gary, in terms of the Fed, I mean, what do you think the Fed's going to do? What can they do? What's their positioning?
Yeah, so Rob, we're recording this on Monday, the 16th. The Fed is going to come out with the end of their monthly meeting in just 2 days. And the current consensus is that the Fed is going to keep rates unchanged. I agree with that consensus. There's just no reason for them to do anything right now. The fact is, with the CPI at 2.4%, the core number at 2.8%, they're still above the 2% target, which I continue to believe is 2% too high. So there's really no reason for them to do anything. The other thing is, I don't think there's anything the Fed can do right now. It's going to take spending cuts from Congress, something that's not going to happen. But, if you remember back into September, the Fed over a 3-month period or 2-month period, whatever, September, October, November, they cut 100 basis points. That's 1%. And when they did that, the rate on the 10-year Treasury rose by 100 basis points. The market was pricing in higher future inflation. So If they keep rates the same, then it's more of the same. If they lower rates in a nod to President Trump, which I certainly don't think Jerome Powell is inclined to do, we're going to just end up with higher long-term rates, which is something the Fed can't control. The only hope for this is spending cuts from Congress. And you saw they vomited out the Doge suggestions and basically said, yeah, we're not doing any of that. The big beautiful bill is going to result in more spending, as we told everybody a year ago.
Yep.
A year ago, we told all of our viewers that, there were lots of reasons to go vote in the election, but no matter who you voted for, we were going to see higher government spending and continued inflation, and that's where we are. This is not a team red versus team blue kind of thing. This is not a Trump versus Biden or Harris kind of thing. It is simply that Washington will always spend more. They never cut spending, and that's the case regardless of which party is in power.
Yep, that's so true. And Gary, you have been saying that since day one, and we've seen it, and we've told people that, whether they believe it or not. Some of them just will not for whatever reason. It's hard to have conversations with those types of individuals. Anyways, moving to thing number 2.
Where did that come from?
Well, it's you're right. It doesn't matter blue or red, right? They're going to spend. And what my point is, you present those things to audiences, right? And depending on what side they might be on, they fail to acknowledge it one way or the other, right? Which sometimes is obviously very frustrating.
As we've said many times, the Democrats want to spend more and they should be shamed for being communists. The Republicans tell you they want to spend less and they should be shamed for lying about it because they spend as much or more than the Democrats do.